Hello YouTube and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be talking about, let's see what I have written here. I'm going to be talking about whether it's time to change your practice routine or you should stick with what you're already doing. Recently, as in just about yesterday, I decided that I was ready to completely change up my practice routine. I decided that I was tired of practicing all the same stuff. I was tired of sounding the way that I sounded. And I decided that I was just going to get rid of everything that I was practicing and start with a brand new practice approach. Now, this may not be for everybody. I have been practicing a lot of the same material for the past few years. Not necessarily the same things, but the same way of practicing, the same kind of vocabulary, the same kind of phrasing. So I decided that it was time to revamp what I was doing. A lot of my jazz upbringing has been through the study of bebop, extending into John Coltrane. And, there's that kind of sound associated with that era of jazz. And I've spent a lot of time on that, and I was ready to move in a new direction. This whole idea was kind of prompted by listening to Steve Grossman recently. I don't know if you've heard, but he passed. And I was listening to some bootlegs of him playing with Miles Davis when he was, I think, 18 years old, and he sounds phenomenal. But he's running off that really late train high, and there's something about it that's so different from the way that I play that it inspired me to search for something closer to that. Now, I've always been into that kind of playing. I've always appreciated it, but I've never really taken it that seriously. So I decided that I was going to shift gears and start focusing on that style of playing. Not that all the other practicing I've done goes out the window. It's just about opening myself up to new dimensions. So I decided that I'm going to work on basically just pentatonics, false fingerings, all that late train stuff that Steve Grossman, Dave Liebman, even Michael Brecker would play some of, and see where that takes me. I am open to new possibilities, and I am excited about incorporating some new vocabulary into my diet. So, the question here is, should you change up your practice routine? Not should I change up my practice routine, should you change up your practice routine? I think that everybody develops their own intimate relationship with practice. I think there are a few important questions to ask yourself here. Have you been practicing the same material for months, if not years? Have you gotten steadily better at what you're working on? Because if so, if you are getting better at the stuff that you're working on and it is actually benefiting you, there's no reason to change your practice routine. No reason at all. But if you're feeling stuck and stagnant, I strongly advise reassessing your practice routine. It might not even be a matter of changing what you practice, but how you practice it. And how you practice is so important. I've talked in another video about practicing in smaller chunks of time, being more focused. And I think it's really, really important to maintain your focus during a practice session, because when you start losing your train of thought, you are losing out on that really critical information that's coming through your fingers, through your through the sensations of playing your instrument. It is all so important, and you need to be present for every moment of that for you to get the growth that you want. So if you're not getting anywhere with your practice material, you may actually be practicing wrong, or you may just be practicing the wrong things. And I don't mean wrong in a value judgment way. They may not be as suited to your makeup as other things might be. So, I kind of want to take this time to ask you about your practice routine. What are you working on? And I think it's important to break down your practice routine into different categories. If you think about music as a whole, you kind of have three pillars on which music stands. You have melody, you have harmony, and you have rhythm. So the question to ask yourself is, are you working on something within each of these categories? What are you doing to improve and bolster your playing in these ways? Now, I might even add a fourth one that kind of pertains more to you and your relationship to the music, and that is technique. Your ability to accurately execute whatever you are trying to portray. So, for me, I can already tell that there's a weakness in my practice routine because I'm mostly working on technique and harmony. Melody, that's something that I need to work on. Melody is very, very crucial. So I might start by practicing my harmony and my technique, and at the end of my practice session, forget all of that and just play melody so that I stay true to that vocal nature in music, because it's so important. And then rhythm, I can incorporate rhythm and melody together. That can actually just be my treat at the end of my practice session for working on the brainy stuff, for working on the nerdy stuff, for getting in there. So this is really less about changing up your practice routine, but honing it so that you're getting the most out of it. Are you really improving in all the areas you could be improving? So I want you to try something for me. I want you to write out the four categories I've talked about: melody, harmony, rhythm, and technique. And I want you to ask yourself what it is you are good at in each of these categories. With melody, do you play beautiful melodies? Can you play a well put together melody and have it be something that people enjoy listening to? It doesn't mean that you have to play melody all the time. It doesn't mean that that's the kind of player you are. But it's important to be able to do that, because the more hats you can wear, the more skills you have, the more you can bring into the moment when you're performing. So melody is very important. How many melodies do you know? How many songs do you know? That all falls under the category of melody. Now in harmony, ask yourself, what is your harmonic vocabulary? Are you playing all 2/5s, or are you playing something more sophisticated? Does your harmonic vocabulary come from the melodic minor scale, the harmonic minor scale, the whole tone scale, the diminished scale, the symmetrical augmented scale, or are you working on triad pairs? Where is your harmonic source of inspiration? Hopefully, you have some exposure to all of the harmonic techniques that I've discussed here. And hopefully you can apply them to your playing in an effortless manner. Melody, harmony, rhythm. What's your rhythm like? Are you good at polyrhythms? Can you play fives over can you play a pentuplet? Can you play a sextuplet? Can you play a septuplet? I think it's very important to be able to modulate between 16th notes and triplets and be rhythmically flexible. Play like you're a drummer. In fact, I've taken excerpts from drum books and I've written melodies to the whole orchestrated drum set part so that I could find some new sorts of rhythmic inspiration, even within an eighth note line. Because that's something we as horn players can do, is play a rhythmic line even within a stretch of eighth notes by emphasizing certain things. Maybe we have an ostinato. So, rhythmic. Do you play drums? Do you play bass? Do you play piano? Or guitar? I think it's really important to incorporate the rhythm section instruments into your arsenal because it provides such a valuable perspective on what horn players do and what rhythm section players do. It's a give and take, and the more you understand about the other side, the better you're able to communicate with other musicians. So rhythmic, one might even argue that rhythm is more important than melody because rhythm is the foundation of the universe. If you think about the way the planets rotate, it's all in a rhythmic it's in a polyrhythm. So the universe itself is built upon vibration and the relationships of those vibrations to each other. And then finally, technique. I don't know if you saw, but I just put out my video on the Henry Lindemann method, and I have a few tips in there for improving your saxophone technique through that. It's very valuable to practice without the use of your tongue so that you can strengthen your relationship between your horn and your hands without the crutch of your tongue to cover up any weaknesses you have there. Technique's very important. Play everything slow, very, very slow. What was it that I heard? It's professionals practice slow. I think it was James Moody who said it. I'm going to butcher this, but professionals practice slow, masters practice even slower. I know I butchered it, but you get the idea. You practice slow, 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 and you really, really hone in on everything that you're doing so that you are aware of every aspect of what it takes to produce a note and to move to the next note seamlessly. You don't want any gap between the notes. You want it to be one note and then boom, the next note. So it maintains clarity, and then you work on the timing of getting from one note to the other with those Henry Lindemann fingering exercises. In that video, I have a link to a PDF of the fingering exercises from Henry Lindemann's book. It is out of print, so you can actually find it online. They're easy access PDF files. So I know I've covered a lot here. I hope I've given you some ideas about your practice routine. For me, I was ready to move on to something new and just completely clean my slate and practice something completely different. And honestly, I feel reinvigorated, and it's really, really nice to feel that way about the saxophone. I've spent so much time on my instrument, and I love my instrument, but sometimes it can get, you're so used to doing it a certain way that you forget what it could be. So I'm trying, this is my time to expose myself to new things and to explore once again and get excited about it once again. So thanks for listening. If you got value out of this video, please subscribe to my channel. I do either an edited video or a live video every day. So you'll want to click that notification bell so you can hear about my upcoming videos. And if you have any ideas for things you'd like me to talk about, please leave a comment below. Or if you have any thoughts about this video, please leave a comment below. Like this video, tell your friends. I'm trying to build a really great community here. And I think that is it. I will see you next time, and I'm going to sign off here. See you tomorrow.